let's switch paces. Let's talk about Kirk Franklin.
Yeah, let's talk about Kirk Franklin. Um, so so let's just give background. His son
Mhm.
Kerrion released
His son
recorded a
is
phone
33,
call.
right?
He'll be 33. So
Okay.
he recorded a phone call, and it's Kirk Franklin cursing him out. And we didn't see the whole phone call. We only saw Kirk's part. And he's cursing him out, threatening him, whatnot. And then Kirk issued an apology,
Yeah.
apologizing to his fans, and then I think the Sun
Mhm.
put out another video. But then since then, like Kirk's done like an interview with his wife and
It was
Kirk's
quick.
Carry On's mom did an interview. So people have been like they've been addressing it. But a lot of people I've seen are saying like, yo, I stand with Kirk. I support Kirk. Like Kirk did nothing wrong. And I'm just like, is this an instance where this ain't like one of them instances where it's just like I stand with Kirk or I stand with Cat. Like I don't think this is one of them moments because it the the video was a little disturbing to me because
Mhm.
and it's not it's
Me too.
and people are saying because like he used language and I was just like it's not because he used like profanity. That wasn't like that was a part of it, but it wasn't the reason because people were saying like, "Yo, Kurt cursed, so what? He's human." And I don't think it was just the cursing for me. It was he's addressing his son. I didn't really like the and people were saying like my parents used to talk to me like that. Oh, people are too sensitive nowadays. Like my parents used to talk to me like that and this and that. I'm just like, so just because there was a toxic relationship that was passed down from your parents, or they talk to you in a manner like
Mm.
that, that doesn't mean that it's right or that you should do it for your children or that like you should keep that going. And it just confuses me because so many times we're and like people now need therapy from the stuff that they went through because people say like, "Yo, I got beat, I got spankings, all this stuff happened to me, and look how I turned out." And I'm
Yeah.
like, but do you want to have that behavior? Like, do you want to do that for your kids? Do you not realize like what how that made you feel and what that did for you? And it's just like if you don't know any better, you don't do better. But like if you're like for people to say that, oh, he did nothing wrong, it's just like you can support him and say
Mhm.
like you don't got to cancel him. I'm not saying cancel Kirk or anything like that, but to not acknowledge the wrong it's it does Kirk a disservice. Like it does people like you have to acknowledge the wrong. Like you can say,
Yeah.
yeah, I still support him through this, like which is fine because I still support him through this because like he had a moment, but and you got to look at both sides too because it's just like the kid is 33, like his son is 33, and it's his son. Like he had like Kirk had him when he
Yeah.
was a teenager, and then he went and married Tammy, and then they had their kid. She had her kid, but it's just like he didn't really have the same relationship with his dad as they did, and he might have felt like an outcast, or he has his own issues, and
Uh-huh.
like people handle their own issues the way they want, like not the way they want to, but the way they know. The same way people were saying, like my parents talked to me like that, it's because they didn't know how to parent, so they did what they know or what was familiar to them. So
It's
like if he doesn't know, or if he feels you can't tell people how to feel. So if he feels like he's been abandoned, or he doesn't have this, or he doesn't feel like his parents need to talk to him in that manner, or I don't know what this situation is, but he felt the need to record it and put it out to the public. It's a private manner and it should have stayed private, but once it gets to the public, all bets off. People are
so
gonna have their opinions, but
quick point because you said, people they pass that toxic, relationship down from one generation to the next. The reaction that I've seen from people, and specifically Steve Harvey, he made it seem almost like it's natural that at some point you're going to have to get with your child in that manner. And so, do you think people see it as toxic, or it's just
so
family business?
so Steve Harvey and Ricky Smiley sort of had a similar take on the situation, which disturbed me even more because they were saying just because that's your kid, like you block him from your phone, don't let him call you, don't let him do this. You got to cut your kids off at some point, and this and that. And it was like, they have the phrase like hurt people, but it's just like he's dealt, like you could see Ricky Smiley or Steve have dealt with issues within their family, and it sort of affects how you would have, like, from your experience, like it molds your thinking. So if that's what happened to them and they see this happening here, they're going to assume, all right, I'm going to handle this like I handled it, or like they gave their piece on it, and I didn't agree the whole time I was talking. But even when I looked at the comments for Ricky Smiley, people were like, "Yo, you said a word, that was a message, and this and that," and I'm just like, that's not the right response.
Yeah, it is disturbing. This is very disturbing. The fact that Steve, it's like, I don't know, maybe it's because of the friendship, and maybe if that was my friend, I would feel the need to cover for him like that. But it just feels like that can't be what they think is the right way. Like,
right.
And making excuses saying, don't worry if he Christian. Who say Christians can't cuss you out? Everyone knows that a Christian can cuss you out. Like,
right.
That's no surprise, but
that's why that wasn't a surprise to me either. Like, that's why I said the profanity wasn't the disturbing part. Like the disturbing part was the way that you're talking to your son. And it's just like, and then Kirk's apology, he was sort of saying like, we've always had this toxic relationship and stuff. And I'm like when you look at the way that he's speaking to him, and this is one thing I want to say too, because people have sort of got this distorted. They were saying, oh, well, the son cursed to him and this and that. He didn't. He was repeating what Kirk said. Like, Kirk was saying these things to him. He said, like, you're poor and this and that. Like, and the son was just repeating what he said. And people couldn't really hear Kirk say it. They heard the son say it. So they were just like, oh, yeah, he was being disrespectful, cursing at him. And he wasn't. And I don't know what happened on the phone call before or whatever. But I'm just saying, from what I can only go by from what I heard. And I just don't think in any scenario, I think there's a way that you handle it that you don't sort of reach that point where you're throwing out threats. Like, if someone's talking to you in that manner, are you going to receive what they're saying? Are you really going to hear them? You're going to respond the same way that they're responding to you. So, and the people kept saying, like, honor your mother and father, and like they were saying, like, yeah, he should be honoring his mother and father. And but it, like, they were looking at it from the angle, like they weren't looking at it from the same angle. And I'm looking at it from like a son to a father, because I'm a son. So, and I'm just like, and then I was asking people because they were agreeing with Kirk, and I was just like, it's more of the relationship that he's showing to his son. Because I said, take the son out of it. If this recording came out and he was talking to his daughter that way, would people have a different feeling about it? Would they have a different reaction if he
would be canceled immediately?
But why?
Because
he's talking to his daughter.
That's a double standard right there. Yeah.
And so people were saying, like, this is a grown man. This is like, he's 33. Like, he could talk. But if it's a 33-year-old Black woman that he's talking to, that's his daughter, like, would people still be in support and still having this same reaction to it? Because I'm saying, regardless of gender, that's your child. And I know people talk to their, like, you see people talk to their kids any type of way all the time. And I used to say that too. Like, I used to say, like, yeah, I'm gonna beat my kids. I'm not gonna, spare the rod, spoil the child. And I still agree with that. But like, I can't.
But like, this is different though, because what you're saying, what happened with Kirk Franklin isn't something we don't know if he does this on the regular or not, or speaks like this regularly.
So can I tell you this? His son is 33 years old. this ain't the first time he's spoken to his son like that. This is not the first time they had an exchange like that.
You think so?
I can assure you this is not the first time that like they've talked in that manner to each other. Like I don't think it just happened out the blue, because for him to record it like that, it's had to happen before. And Kirk even said they have a history of having a toxic relationship.
That's crazy.
But and then people were saying he's 33. They kept focusing on his age, because I'm like, but does that like? And it does matter.
It doesn't matter that much though. It's still your
it
child.
Doesn't matter. But that's what I'm saying. The age doesn't matter. That's still your child. Like, and I saw Monique saying, like like a lot of people addressed it, and she was saying, like, I cuss my kids out all the time, and people were just condoning this sort of toxic behavior, and it's like it doesn't make it right. And just because you do it, just because your parents did it, just because this is the pattern that you see, like people talk about generational curses all the time. At some point, you got to break the curse. Like just because, like people, like do you see people like beating on their kids anymore? Like people used to beat on their kids, but you can't do it anymore.
That's what I'm saying. There's a difference between discipline and someone that's just like, it's a difference between arguing and disagreeing and even getting a little loud and like, I'm cussing you out like you a bum off the street. Like
that's how it sounded like.
Dirt. Like you're less than dirt. Like,
but that's what it sounded like. And I'm thinking too, and think of the son, because he does have that strained relationship with his father. His father had other kids, got married, had other kids. So it's sort of like you're an outsider, sort of. So to hear him talk to him like that, it's like, what do you expect?
But I'm thinking, what did the son do something to provoke him into that?
Probably, like he probably could have. He probably did.
It's possible.
But I'm saying, even as a child, like, because you can push buttons, anybody can push your buttons. But I'm just saying that, like, the way that you and I don't know how involved Kirk was in his life, like, but even if your child pushes your button, there's a way to reprimand them and discipline them that is not that what we heard. And people were saying, and then people kept saying, well, he's talking to a grown man, and it sounds like that's still his child. In the same way that you expect, like this, like the son to show respect to the father at any age, like you can't just hold that he's 33.
Yeah, I don't like that, and I don't like that people they're kind of using the ends to justify the means. That because he leaked the conversation, that justifies Kirk cussing him out because he deserves it. If someone would stoop that low to leak a private conversation, they deserve to get cussed out. So you should have. That's like backwards thinking. Like,
it's so backwards, but it's just like, but you have to look at the why too. It's like you have to say, why did he release it? Like they said, oh, you should be ashamed of yourself for trying to cancel your father. But it's just like we don't know what the situation is. Like we don't know what's happening. So you don't know if he's 33, like they said. Why didn't he release stuff before? Why is he releasing it now? Did something happen recently that pushed him to do this? Like we don't know. But it just disturbed me. Like to hear and it wasn't because it was the cursing, because I've heard Kurt say things like he's been on the Breakfast Club and he said, the N-word, or he said things. And Kirk, throughout his life, he should have shown you that he's human and that he's not perfect. Like,
but it goes back to the the whole argument about cuss words, the context, the energy that you're putting behind the word that make it. Because it sounded crazy. He sounded crazy.
No, but even saying like, I'll break my, like people could pick, like people give threats all the time that they're not going to do. But it was just the tone. Yeah. And then the laughing in the background was disturbing to me too. And I thought it was the wife, but they said it wasn't her. It was somebody else.
I didn't even hear the laughing. I only listened once.
I listened a few times, but it was just so disturbing to me. But it was just like, how do you get to that point where you're talking like that, because it seemed no, it seemed natural, right? It didn't seem like out of the ordinary. Like it seemed like this type of language has been said before, or it has been used before.
So that reaches the point. Like you gotta ask, what do you think? Should Kirk be canceled?
No, no. And so what I said, we can like all you could do, you could pray for him, you could pray for his son, pray for his family, like that God is gonna, heal that situation. Like it's nothing you can do, like, but pray for them. But to cancel him, and that was something that disturbed me too. Because I saw people saying like, "Yo, why would you try to cancel your father? He's too important to us. He's too important to music and whatever." And it was just like, are you holding like? It seems sort of selfish in a sense. It was just like,
Mhm.
don't cancel him. He's too important. It's the same way like, yo, the Cosby Show was too important to us. Like, yo, don't cancel him. Or anything. You can take anything or any person and be like, yo, that person is too important to the cause or too important to this. Like, keep that quiet. Don't bring it out publicly. And so like that sort of disturbed me because it's just like the son is hurting for something. Like we don't know what's happening, but he's hurting. Like it's something that needs to be mended and healed.
Yeah,
And and he
clearly.
put it out. He put out the recording for whatever reason. We don't know why. But I mean, all you could do is pray for them for real, for real.
I mean, so you don't think he should be canceled?
But cancel how? Like, what do you mean by cancel?
The most extreme version, the R. Kelly version, that no,
Or
they're
we don't
gonna,
listen to his music anymore?
yeah, they don't listen to his music, they don't play him in the church no more, they don't perform his music, they ban this man.
I don't think that would ever happen. First off, but what I look at Kirk and gospel music differently is that it's the same way. It's a scripture, and I can't even say it, but it's just like it doesn't. And I'll find the scripture, but it's basically saying it doesn't matter who's who
Who
you
got
hear the
so
gospel
this?
from. It said
Mhm.
it doesn't matter who you hear the gospel from as long as the gospel's preached.
Yeah,
And so if you look at Kirk's music, like it, it doesn't come from Kirk. It comes from God. So
I'm in
like
agreement.
to cancel like and like the way you feel when you hear certain songs, it's like you're not gonna not play it. It's like saying like I'm not gonna read the Bible anymore. I'm not gonna uh, like it's like you can't really cancel. You can cancel him as a person if you want. Some people might choose not to listen to him or whatever now, and I'm sure some people have chosen that. But
That's what they're in their power, that's fine.
yeah. But I mean, you get like, but to cancel someone is saying that people aren't going to make mistakes, and like
Because no one's perfect. We're
you're
all
taking them.
flawed.
We're all flawed. We've all
All
fallen
sin.
short.
Yeah.
But it's just like you take away this you take away the option of repentance, you take away the option of restoration because it's just like if you cancel him, you don't give him a chance to be restored.
But that's one
Like
of the, what would you call it? One of the interesting things about Kirk, because he's been on the Breakfast Club, been, done music with different people and done interviews, and he's never made it seem like he was a perfect person. Quite the
right.
opposite. So that's probably like a saving grace for him, that it's really no surprise that, he uses some of that language. Like it's not a,
It's not a surprise, but you know why it's not a surprise? Because I know pastors who use that language. I know people in the church. It's people in the church
yeah.
who will cuss you out. So and it's sort of like it's sort of like when you say you're Christian, people sort of hold that they sort of hold you under the same regard as they hold Jesus. It's like, yo, he's perfect. You should be perfect. Like he's sinless, you should be sinless. But like you said, like we've all sinned and fallen short. So like if we were perfect, we wouldn't need him. We wouldn't need Jesus. So we show that we're not perfect. So we're going to make mistakes. We're going to like
But
we're going to fall.
but to an extent, Kirk, he is a role model. He is held to a higher standard than the average civilian. He does make, good money off of this gospel music, off of, spreading the word through his music. So do you feel there should be any actions taken? I know he apologized, but should anything else be done?
But actually, like who is going to hold
I don't know.
him accountable?
People,
Like his record label? No. Like,
because they don't care. Well, I don't know that. I don't know who's his record label. But I'm thinking that's just a regular and not a gospel record label.
so I'm like, usually like within the church, like you've seen if something happens, like somebody will have to take a sabbatical, and like they can't serve in ministry or leadership or something for a while.
Yeah.
But with Kirk, like honestly, with Kirk puts out so many hit songs. Like he's going to release a song, and people are going to not forget about it, but yeah, pretty much forget about it.
I think I like how you said that. I'm in agreement with that course of action. I don't believe in canceling people, but I do like that, take a seat for now, take a knee for a while you sort out your life, because it's kind of it's just weird to see him like to go on tour or to be on, Good Morning America performing his latest song, knowing that that's brewing. It, but again, he could be working through that through the music. That could be the
And so
way.
and so and so what I'll say about this too is like Kirk was never planning for this to come out. So like he's had stuff booked for how long. But um I don't know. Um it's a family matter. Like we shouldn't have been privy to this. It's a family
It
matter.
was a family
But
matter. It's no
but now
longer a
like
family matter.
it's still a family matter.
It's
But
no
like
longer a family. Not when it's out here. He wouldn't have to
it's
apologize if it was a family matter.
it's out there, but
The money gets affected. This is a business at the end of the day that he's in, and it affects the money. So he had to come out real quick and apologize. Like
well he
almost the
did.
next day, it was an interview to do
Yeah.
damage
You
control.
have to do damage control.
It's
Well, one interesting thing that the Sun said was he said, you see, he apologized to his fans, but he didn't apologize to like his son. Because people were saying, and that's one thing that people were saying too, like they were saying he didn't need to apologize. Like he didn't need to apologize to the fans or anybody.
did.
And
He definitely did.
but they were saying he didn't need to apologize because he did nothing wrong.
And he did. That's even if he was in the
So
right, it was still wrong. Like
so let me ask you this. What sort of disturbed you the most about like the recording?
I only listen once. It's just that, it's just not disturbing like he's above that, but just disturbing that something like that would be released and show that side of him, because
It's
celebrities,
an ugly side.
yeah, celebrities, public figures, we see them two-dimensional. We only see them as what they let us see. And so when something else, that's why it's so damaging. It's like, wow, like, and that's why I also feel like you shouldn't follow public figures and celebrities that much.
Oh
Like,
yeah, yeah. I agree with that, but I feel like it's different here. Like, and I'll say for me because I've been listening to Kirk's music since he came out. Like my
mhm.
whole life, I've listened to Kirk's music. Like I always put him as my top three like favorite like gospel artists. Um, so like I listen to Kirk. I've met him. Like I've been to his concerts. Like I'm a fan. And
Mhm.
so when I listened to it, I wasn't surprised. Like I wasn't surprised by the cursing at all because I sort of expected, like Kirk, like you said, Kirk's the one person who sort of put himself out there that you wouldn't be too surprised by him
Yeah.
cursing. I just sort of had, and in today's world where we're supposed to sort of take more pride into Black men and Black women, and we see what's happening to so many Black men, and like like if you saw a white person talking to a young black child like this, you would be outraged. And I like and people give too much credence to the fact that like I think like sometimes parents might feel like they have ownership of their kids and they're able to say and do whatever they want to them. And I'll say vice versa too for the kids, because you shouldn't speak to your parents in any type of way. But like I look at scripture and like it's like God, like he lets, and I don't even know if I'm saying this right, but it's just like the parents, it's not like he gives, like we're God's children. So like it's sort of like not on rent, but like we have our parents to sort of bring us up. But we're God's children, we're all God's children. So he's
Mhm.
given them watch over us. But that doesn't mean that you can just do anything, right? Like you just can't do whatever you want.
Yeah, you can't.
But and the fact that his son is 33 years old, it's more disturbing to me too, because I'm like, and Kirk, and like you said, Kirk's a public figure. He's an artist. He's on the road. He's doing all this stuff. So I don't know how involved he was in his son's life, because the mom came on and said he's always been provided for, like financially and stuff, which is fine. But financially doesn't really take away a void that you might feel if that person is not there. And I'm sure he wasn't. He might have been there less for him
Hmm.
as he was for his other kids who were like in his house and come from him and his wife. So like you gotta. We don't know everything. We don't know the full extent, but like you have to sort of see where the son's coming from, because
Of
he's
course.
hurting. He has issues, and even more to be talked to like that from your father is, it's like that's just going to bring up more issues, or it's probably has brought up more issues, because like I said, I don't think this is the first time this has happened.
Let me ask you this, because you said in the past in another conversation, like if your pastor was doing certain things, got caught in, certain, was living certain lifestyles or reacting in certain ways that you wouldn't be under them. You
Hmm.
would you would probably leave the church if you had to.
Hmm.
Do you feel the same way about Kirk? If this was your pastor and this came out, same messaging and everything came out, would you be able
So
to stay in that church?
so I'll say this: like there are artists, like there are gospel artists that I don't really listen to, because I don't really like the life I've seen them portray,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. Like it's certain ones that I really don't listen to like that anymore because of that. Like some of them have done reality TV, and I'm just like how are you that type of person? How do you have that much hate, or that much? How are you that ignorant of a person and doing gospel music? Like, and that's why I don't think reality TV is good. People might know who I'm talking about, because there's only a few people who've done this. Um, but like when you bring your life to the world and they're able to see how you are, like people make their own interpretations of who you are. It might not be who you are, but that's what we see. So like you said, this was a private matter, but now it's public, and this is how we see Kurt. And like he came and apologized, but we see what was there, and it came out of anger. Um, so people are going to cancel him. I mean, like I still listen to his music, like because he's on my playlist that I play a bunch. So his old music. If he comes out with new music, it's Kirk. I'm still going to listen to it, honestly. But
So,
like, I'm going to listen to it, but the way that you see them, it sort of changes now. Like you don't really see them in the same way as you did.
so in the sense, you
But
saying that he kind of get a pass because of the history that you had with him, you could get
and I
past it.
and I'm not going to say it's because of the history. Like, and like some things aren't. some things aren't for us to know. So it's a family battle that he has, and everybody has their family battles, their family issues. But with like, we don't know. Like you can't like only God can heal that relationship. So all I say is you can pray. All you can do is pray for him, pray for his son, pray for his family, that like they get whatever healing that they need. But it's not for me to sort of like, only like people like it's not for us to sort of judge. You can choose now not to listen to that music if you want, but like, and like I'll say too, like when you're at your lowest, like people say, like God will meet you there. So like, and then we don't know how God's going to restore him. We don't know how God like, and God gives him this music. It doesn't like, and we'll know. Like honestly, like in something that Pastor said today, like he was saying, like he had like when he went off script, sort of from the message. He said he had a message in mind, but God gave him other words, and so and God told him like, if you go with what you were planning, like I won't be in it. And so I feel the same way too. Like Kirk is going to have his journey, and whatever journey it is with God and restoration that he's going to have. But I feel like in the music, we'll know if it's sort of God breathed. Like if God gave him those words and whatever. Because like that's the thing about gospel music. When I listen to it, like it does something for you that all music doesn't sort of do for me. And so if you hear it.
So you're kind of politicking right now. You kind of went around the question.
Did I go around it?
You went all the way around the question.
I don't think I don't
down a different road. You did not answer the question.
I don't think I politic this one. How didn't I answer it?
So the question is, if this message came out from your pastor, would you leave the church the same way as if you found out that your pastor was an alcoholic or had some other type of issue going on? Would you leave the church, or would you be able to forgive and get past this and hope that he works on his relationship with his son? Would you be able to go forward and follow him? Follow his leadership, that is.
Honestly, I don't know. And I feel like, and it depends on because like I said, it's sort of one-sided right now because we only heard Kirk's part. We didn't hear all the other stuff. And I don't even know how, like, it matters a little bit, but I feel like if my pastor was doing it, I would sort of see how they handled their kids or treated their kids. And like sometimes kids do need discipline and they need to be reprimanded. It's just a way about doing it. If I heard my pastor using that type of language, I would be surprised because I don't think I think he would talk with firmness to his kids, but I don't think he would ever reach that sort of boiling point. Because I feel like in anything, like if once you reach that point, you're about when you're angry, you're bound to say anything. So, like, if my pastor did that, I would probably have a discussion with him and sort of see, what happened.
Not even specific to any one pastor. You go to a church, this is your pastor, this came out, and they reacted the same way. They came back, they said, we apologize, we'll handle this internally. So that's all you're going to get. You're not going to get anything from the kid. You're not going to get anything from, that's what you know. And it's a surprise, of course. You never saw this type of behavior before.
I don't know if I would leave right away, but it's probably something that will weigh on me. And like if it was weighing on me too much, I probably probably would remove myself from that situation. Like I probably would have to find somewhere else. If something's weighing on me that much, and I'm like, I don't think I could be led by this person or just be like, I probably would leave, honestly.
So how is that different from Kirk Franklin? How can you continue to listen to him then?
Because I don't look at Kirk as like my pastor. Like like his music ministers to me, but he's not the person that I sort of go to for that. But even with Kirk, and I say this because I like this example gets thrown around all the time, but like there like you have to have a restoration story. Like if you look in the Bible, like nobody's perfect. Like everyone had their flaws, but they were still used to do great things. Kirk is still like Kirk can still be used to do great things. Like if we looked at what they've done, like the person does, even in like their lowest moment right now, like this is a low moment for Kirk. Like it's a low moment.
Very low.
Probably one of the lowest in his career. But like
you would think,
don't you want to see how he rises from this? Don't you want to see like the restoration? Because he's gonna have to address it again. I feel like
I'm not really interested because I just feel like the same way that interview came out so quick, these things will get spun. And so it's designed like that. So the public will never know what truly happened. Only Kirk and his family will know if they really fixed that relationship. Only, but we'll probably never really get the real answer. Even if they're seen together hugging, that doesn't even mean anything because money is at play. Fame, it's a funny game.
But I don't think that's for us to really worry about, though.
I agree. We should.
Like, I don't think that's for us to worry about. And I know, and like I said, like people are going to make their decision whether they listen to Kirk or not. But like God, like that's for God to work on them. God will work on the son, the father, the kids, like whoever's in that situation, he'll work on them. So that's not our issue.
So
like,
you don't care about the restoration then? It shouldn't matter, right?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying like if I cancel him or if I stop listening, like you don't give the chance for restoration just because someone has a low moment. Like,
but what do you mean? I don't understand. You're saying that he should be given a chance at restoration, even if you never see what that restoration is, pretty much?
Yeah.
We're going to take it on faith that it won't happen again.
I'm not going to say that it won't happen again, but it's a work in progress. And like we're all a work in progress. But you pray for them. All you could do is pray for them and God will do the rest. So like it's not for us to worry about. It can be a restoration story. And we might hear from the son about the restoration story. We might hear from Kirk. We might not hear about it anymore. But like I'm saying, we just can't close the door for that.
I agree.
Because if we close the door and say, I'm never listening to him again, I'm never doing this again, you don't really want to kick someone while they're down. Like
I agree with you. But at the same time, I think that's why you should, like if it was a pastor, they should probably take a sabbatical.
Yeah.
Probably should. That's why I'm not comfortable with Kurt, just continuing on like, no, he was in the right. Y'all don't know what really happened on the phone call. No, I'm not,
And honestly, I didn't like even the apology that Kurt gave. It wasn't like it wasn't like because I said like we didn't really need an apology, but it's like it was PR. It was damage control because the stuff and in the apology, it sort of sounded like he was sort of putting the blame on the son. Like he was saying like this is the recording that my son leaked, which he shouldn't have. But he was saying he said I've had a toxic relationship with my son for a long time. He will be 33. It was certain points that he made that I'm sure his puppet, whoever is running his image, told him to point out in this apology. But yeah, I don't think we could just cancel I don't think we just cancel.
Yeah, I don't think we can cancel. It's interesting though. It's very interesting, and I think some will argue, or they will at least question, like, can you really be led by the Spirit during times like this when you got that type of rage in you? Can God be present in your work, in the work that you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say it, because the Bible says, "Be slow to anger." Like it talks so much about like be slow to speak, be slow to anger. Um, like don't go to sleep with like don't let the sun go down on your wrath.
Yeah,
Like when you do things in anger, it's sort of out of your character. It's the same thing. Like it's like yeah, don't let the sun go down on your wrath because you say things and you do things in anger that you wouldn't do otherwise. So he spoke to his son in a sense,
yeah,
and it was anger. So like when you sort of get calm and level headed, you might like change your tone. That's why I said like too like there's different ways to go about it. So if he had a hung up the phone, caught himself, level headed, and maybe tried to talk once you sort of calm down,
yeah.
then you don't talk like that. And it seemed like the person on the phone was egging him on, and it seemed like it was sort of like a show. Like
Let me
like
rephrase the question. Do
I
you?
still didn't answer the question.
No, no. You answered the question, but I wanted to. I think I didn't ask the question correctly. Do you think, say, say he had the conversation right before he went on stage at church to perform? Do you think he could get off that call and then the Spirit, would be in him, like to go and truly, minister to God's people in a way that was worthy?
So let me tell you this. So if this video never came out and he just went about his life, like he would have just went about his life.
Yeah,
Like we still would have seen him on TV. We still
yeah.
would have seen him performing. We still would have listened. The fact that
Hmm.
it came out,
Now we know.
but does that change how it should change how he moves? But I don't know. He could have been performing all these other times with all that anger.
But do
I
you
don't
feel
know.
like the Spirit could have still been with him during that time? Or no, like God, like kind of like how Pastor said, no, if you do it this way, I'm not going to be with you. You think it was one of them things where it's like God can't be with you after what you just did behind stage. You can't go out in front of the stage and act like it's all good.
No, I mean, I'm not gonna say he can't be with you. He can sit like I'm with you always. But
Hmm.
like in that action, like, but you got to still think about it. That is music. So and it's
Yeah,
sort of like, what are you going there for? Because some people will listen to Kirk and they'll listen to it and they'll be happy because it's just music, and that's why
but it's
like
another layer to it. You would agree, right?
it's ministry too. Like
Yeah, it's
even
a
Kirk used to
spiritual
have
layer to it. Like,
it's to a point where like yeah yeah,
could that be there?
but it's still I still look at it the same way. Like as long as the gospel's preached, like because like if someone's reading the Bible to you and they're
Mhm.
quoting like you're still hearing the word. Like if Kirk is playing like why we sing and like I'm listening to why we sing, like the words and stuff to why we sing will still resonate with me. It's not that Kirk's bringing it to me. It's like what I'm getting out of it. So Kirk's the messenger.
Yeah.
So like God could still be in it. Like because
So what if Kirk
it's a
was
loaded
singing?
question. I don't even think I answered it because it's a hard question.
So what if Kirk was singing on stage and he said the Spirit is flowing in here, and then he tripped immediately after that? Like he trip and break his leg. Like you went. Could it be
Well, I
possible
mean,
that God said, no, the spirit is not flowing in here, not today,
so
not after that?
that's a really good example. So if he went out, so like we were saying with Pastor, if he went out there and was disobedient,
Mm-hmm.
like that would have been Kirk's encounter. Like, yo, I gotta be obedient. Like I like feel like we've all had those moments where
Yeah.
like I should have been obedient, and there's a consequence for disobedience.
Yeah.
So if Kirk went out there, and I'll give this example because when like you saw the video after Kobe passed when Oprah and Gail and like they wanted to bring up stuff about Kobe, basically throwing dirt on his name after he died.
Trying to get
and
close.
so and then the video that we saw when Oprah is on stage and she just stumbles and falls, we're just like, that's what you get. And so like if something, and I honestly do feel like Kirk will have a mishap like that where he may fall or something. And people will bring that up. Like, that's what you get for playing with the Lord. That's what you get. But
you never know if it's the Lord or not. Only Kirk will really know, like
only Kirk knows what like his
or the person experiencing those consequences.
Like man looks at the outside. God looks at the heart. So he'll know what Kirk's heart, where Kirk's heart is, if his heart's not in it, if he's going out for whatever reason
that's true.
Performing for. So he'll see it. And like if you say if he falls on stage and breaks his leg, it's just like God, like he'll when you're disobedient, he'll still find a way to get his purpose fulfilled. So like if you were saying like, yo, Kirk should have took a sabbatical, if God said, yo, don't perform, and he performs and he breaks his leg, he's like, yo, you're gonna take that sabbatical. Like he'll find a way to make you do what he made for you to do.
It's
like no, I'm just saying, because I told people, and I keep telling people about and I don't tell them you told me this, but I keep saying, yeah, my friend told me I boxed with God and I lost about, and I can't even speak on it now. But and that was one example when I was being disobedient because it was something telling me, yeah, do this, like say yes, and I said no, and then he found a way for like he made sure that not make like what I didn't want to do, I still had to do. And I had to do even more than what I would have done if I just said yes. So like he'll find a way to make you do what he made for you to do. So like with Kirk, like yes, like you pray for him, you pray for his family, but like that's for God to work on. Like it's not for us. It's like when I saw Steve Harvey and Ricky Smiley and them, it was just like you have such a public platform. Why take this sort of stance on it?
It's almost like they were trying to put fear in Christian people. Like, you better not criticize him. Y'all know what y'all do. Like, in defense of like Kirk Franklin. Like, come on now. Like, wrong is wrong.
Yeah, wrong is wrong.
We standing there acting like he did the right thing. Like, he didn't do the right thing. And if Steve think that's the right thing, it's not. Like, if anyone in the church was exposed like that, they would have to apologize too. Even if it was just to go to their pastor or their family, whoever. Like, that's not something that you applaud or say, oh, that's just business.
And then Charlemagne and people's takes on it was different. So like even Charlemagne was saying like, oh, just because he makes gospel records, you don't think he's supposed to curse? And I think people were getting too lost in the cursing and the profanity. It just disturbed me seeing a father talk to his son like that.
It's disgusting, yo.
Like, and then this is what I told people, because I had this discussion with one of our friends, and they were sort of agreeing with Kirk, and then basically a lot of points that a lot of people were making. This is a 33-year-old man. This is that, and then but I'm just like, So if you were to talk, like, would you ever talk in any situation? Could you see yourself talking to like your son like this, like your newborn son? Could you see yourself talking to your son like this, no matter what he does, like that, like the love you like the love that a parent has for their child? I feel like it wouldn't bring them to that level,
Yeah, that's corny. Like
and
it's
not even like, and not even like your child. Like I say, for me, like my nieces and nephews, I'm like, I couldn't even imagine, like, no matter what they said to me, I can't imagine getting to that level of talking to them like that. And I'm like, and like it like you have to it because he's 33, and the fact that he's 33, you're like, how was he raised? Like how did you address him as he was a child? How did you address him in his adolescent years? Like, how did you speak to him? How did you interact with him?
hmm
It's just like it just didn't happen at 33. Like,
yeah.
like, like, how did you raise him up to be if you were like a part of his life? Like, it's like it's family hurt, and like
Nobody want to say
it's
it,
a
but
lot of family hurt.
Nobody want to say this, but Kirk guilty, yo. He very guilty. Yo, if it
Guilty of
looked like
what?
a duck, it quack like a duck,
But guilty
yo,
of what? But guilty of what?
you know this ain't the first, second, third, fourth, fifth.
So this is what I'll say too, because the son and the mother has like the son's mom said this when she addressed it. She said her son felt like Kirk was trying to kill him for like a long time. He felt like he was going to kill him. He said there's been like a history of like parental abuse, which Kirk denied. Kirk said he said I never put my hands on him for anything like that. And but like the son, I don't know what happened, but like the son is alleging like there's been um abuse. He said, yeah, basically physical abuse. He said, and that he felt like his father was going to kill him. And I'm like, unless you like, I don't know if the son has mental issues or whatever, but like there's more to it than
That's
just like
that's why the son won, because the Jay-Z bar, a wise man said, "Don't argue with fools," because
because
people from
people
a
at a
distance,
distance can't tell who is who.
yeah,
But
they
I
both
can't.
look
But
crazy with this.
they both they both look
You don't know
crazy.
who's crazy, so you can only surmise that they're both crazy.
Yeah, but there's no win. Like we can't say the son won. Like there's no winners in this.
Who knows?
But
Maybe he did.
but he got his point across
Yeah, maybe he did. Maybe he laughing.
because because there are people who are standing with the son. There are people who are standing with the father,
Yeah.
and so and I don't think this like.
Or
But this isn't a situation where you choose one side or the other.
yeah,
Like
no,
they're like wrong is wrong, and
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Even when people are coming to Kirk's defense, it's like wrong is wrong. Like no matter how you try to spin it, he was wrong.
Dead wrong, yo. Dead wrong. Like, and you
Dead
could
wrong.
tell it was recorded because the son
It
knew he
happened
was going to cuss
before.
him out. He
Hmm.
knew. He knew this was coming. So he like, yo, I got him. Like,
And that's what people were saying too. That people were saying, like, what did he do to provoke his son? I mean, his father. And that's what Stephen A. got in
nothing.
trouble. And like, right, because like you remember when Stephen A. got in trouble, he said, "Well,
Well,
what did the woman do to provoke the man?"
yeah.
And so it's like it's things are such double standards with all of this stuff because it's just like maybe the son didn't even do anything to provoke him. Maybe he said something. He might not have said anything crazy, but maybe he like because you know like you know there's buttons that you can push with anyone. So maybe he said something that might have pushed a button and then it caused him to react like that. But for us to just say like the son is wrong and it's wrong for you to put this out here like that, and it's wrong for you to put this out here publicly, then you got to say it's wrong for anyone who does that, who puts anything out
I
publicly.
agree.
Like because and it's some people like when you see things and you're just like, oh, I never knew that happened like that. Like when we saw and I hate giving examples because people always look at an example you get like, oh, you're comparing it to this situation. But I'm like, even with like the Ray Rice situation, when we heard about it, we didn't know to the extent of how bad it was until we saw it. And so, like, if the son came out and just said, my father is being abusive to me, or like my father's doing this or doing that, like, people would have took it with a grain of salt. But when you actually see it and you hear it, you have a different response to it.
Yeah.
And so, like, the son got his point across, and he keeps saying, I'm going to release more videos if this keeps happening. So I don't know what his agenda is, because they said the son has like a mixtape that he's trying to promote. So maybe he's using this to promote his mixtape. I don't know what his intentions are. I don't know. It's just it's a messed up situation. But all I say is, like, yo, all you could do is pray for them. That's all you could do.
Nobody wins when the family feuds.
Nobody wins when the family feuds.